Welcome to Streams to Impact, the podcast where busy professionals are empowered to develop multiple streams of passive income built on solid, secure, hands-off commercial real estate investments. This show is not just about wealth development. Every episode, we dive deep into inspiring conversations with professionals who are living life to its fullest while making significant and meaningful impacts on a world in great need. Engage with us each week and discover how you can thrive and flourish abundantly in all areas of your life. Now here's your host, Dr. Allen.
Hello, enlightened investors, and welcome to Streams to Income. We have an exciting and interesting show for you today as we are going to take a look at transformation and the power of dynamic leadership. With us today is a dynamic leader dedicated to empowering individuals and teams. With over 20 years of experience in leadership and personal development, she blends strategic thinking with a deep understanding of human behavior. Our guest today is a transformative leader and has workshops, coaching, and speaking engagements behind her, and she inspires self-discovery and collective success, fostering stronger teams and healthier organizations. Welcome, Tina Paulus-Krause. We are so glad that you are with us today. And Tina, if you would just take us into the show and share a pivotal moment in your journey that significantly shaped your approach to leadership and personal development.
Amazing. Great question. Thank you, Ellen. It's really great to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. I think, the one pivotal moment is basically my story and what created the transformation in my life. And I grew up in corporate. I worked for the first 23 years of my adult life in corporate, climbing the ladder, doing all the things, right? All the things that I thought I was supposed to do, that you're told that you're supposed to do. And I was doing that. At the same time, I had a family. My daughter was 24 years old in January of 2015, and I was probably at the height of my career during that time. And I got a call on a Sunday morning at 10 a.m., and the call was, "Mom, something really bad happened last night." And so 24 years old, she almost died that night. Thank God she didn't. A week later, I sent her to drug and alcohol rehab in Arizona. And a really, really long, hard story short, today she is healthy, she is sober, she is thriving. I say that I sent her to drug and alcohol rehab. I sent myself to emotional rehab. And together and individually we healed. And now today we are back together building transformation and retreat centers and just really, really promoting this work that literally changed our lives and turned our lives around. So that was definitely the pivotal moment in my life.
Wow, that is quite the moment. Not the call that any parent ever wants to hear, for sure. But what is so inspiring about that is that not only did your daughter go through a major transformation, but you did it together and came out the other side to really build a dynamic life for both of you that continues to inspire others. So, Tina, let's just get into a little bit of the nitty-gritty here and talk about some of the strategies that have inspired other leaders over the last, it's getting close to a decade, isn't it?
Right? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think, when I went through that with her and then eventually went on my own healing journey, I say healing journey, but it's really about rising up in your leadership. It was really about me letting go of all the things that weren't working in my life and really starting to understand what did work and then doubling down on what did work. And so through I don't know, I started watching podcasts, right, like this, and I started reading books and talking to people and hiring coaches and going to programs and just, I started to get my hands on this transformational work, and I thought, oh my goodness, if these strategies and these tools can help support me to turn my life around like it has, then I get to dedicate the rest of my life to do the same with others, right? Like, why is this not work in the mainstream? Why is this not work not in schools? Why am I just finding out about this work at 48 years old is really where I was at. And it was really, taking yourself on. So when we talk about strategies and all that kind of stuff, it's really about just taking yourself on and opening up to the blind spots that we all have, opening up to what's working and what's not working in your life, opening up to what did I really want. And so there were a lot of strategies, but really it took a coach. It took the actual transformation programs and a coach to support me to see it. Because I was my own worst enemy, Alan. I don't know if anybody else out there feels like that, but I literally was. I would say stuff to myself that I would never, ever say to another human being, And so taking myself on meant learning to love myself, meant learning to like myself, meant learning to understand who I was and stand in my own authenticity. It really was this freeing experience as I went through it, because I was able to just let go of all the stuff that, there was a point in there where I was like, I recognized and reckoned with the fact that I yelled at my kids my whole life. I would be so, wound up from work or whatever it is. I come home and all of that tension would get let out on the people that I love the most, including myself sometimes. And so really taking myself on allowed me to look at those deep dark spots, to look at the shadows, to really face them and learn the tools to get past them, to learn the tools to take my power back. And then as I did that, everything in my life changed. As I did that, the ripple effect in the family, in my relationships, in my work, and everything that I was doing just really started to, it felt good. It started for the first time in my life. Life feels good. Life is good. This is exactly what I want. And so I think the biggest tool was getting a coach and just being open to taking myself on, no matter what that looked like or where it took me.
My work in counseling, I realized that one of the biggest issues that people face is this aspect of denial and not being able to see ourselves for who and what we are. And we think of, you had mentioned all of the dark sides and what have you, but denial is really more than just blinding ourselves to denial.
Yeah.
It is a blinding ourselves, I think, to our strengths and our core aspects of the best parts of us. It's really kind of a total blinding of our whole potential. And the first portion of my adulthood, the first portion of my whole entire life in deep, deep, deep denial. And it took that kind of that rock bottom experience for me to find my way out. And I always wonder, is there a way for those of us who really want to help people transform their life, can we get through to people without them having to go to that rock bottom? What do you think about that?
Yes, I think so. That's such a great question to unpack, because I've said several times I can be the best coach in the world, and if somebody doesn't want to move, they're not going to move. Right? If you don't want to move, you're not going to move. And so I think there's this space for when you're ready, it can happen. If you're not ready, you're going to resist it and find all the reasons not to make it happen. And what those wake-up calls do, like you and I are talking about, that we both went through, they when I got that call, I was a workaholic. I was literally working, I don't even know how many, 15 hours a day, right? I was constantly working, and the impact in my personal life was showing it all over the place, with me, my family, my relationships, all of it. And so it took that hit over the head, that pause in my life, to get me out of the chaos, to get me out of that normalcy that I was just so used to, it took that for me to start thinking in a different way. I mean, look at what just happened in our nation, Alan, right? Like, it takes those kinds of things to like slap us upside the head and go, look, get back to center, get back to what's really important, get back to what you know is what you really want to create. And so I think the answer is yes. It can totally happen for someone if they haven't had a wake-up call, and good for them because they didn't have to get to the wake-up call, right? Their life didn't have to get to that moment, because sometimes that wake-up call, I mean, I have the good side of that wake-up call. Today I can say that that wake-up call worked for Courtney and us and our whole family. A lot of the times, you know, people pass away. There's no coming back from that wake-up call. So yes, it can absolutely happen, but it can't happen unless someone's ready to look at their shadows. It can't happen until somebody's ready to open up and say, there's some things in my life that aren't working, and I get to have support to figure out what they are and where to go from it.
Well, Tina, you do coaching, you do workshops, you do dynamic speaking engagements. What are some of the key, I guess, strategies that wake people up for you in your work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a strategy that wakes them up, but a strategy that I use, that I teach throughout my stuff, is called Cider strategies. And it's more of a process. It's more of a process for transformation. Because as long as we continue to sit in the rat race, sit in the noisy, sit in the busy, continue to go, and we don't stop and pause and think about it, we're going to continue to get that same result. So I call it reset, right? I mean, we can't control the chaos and the noise and everything that's happening out there. We can't. We try to, and that's what creates burnout. But we can't control it. But what we can do is, when we feel it, when we feel not grounded, when we feel out of control, when we feel like we don't have the answers, we can reset. We can go, okay, I'm lost right now. How do I come back? How do I come back to center? And I use Cider strategies as a process, as a way to do that. And the C in Cider stands for clarity. So it's really about that clarity, coming back to clear. So if I'm lost out there and I'm just in it and I'm go, and I'm in this rat race, I get to come back to what's clear. What is important? Where should I be at right now? Where do I get to bring my mindset to? What is my goal? What am I trying to accomplish? Getting back to clarity, like this, it's almost like taking your power back. Clarity, right? Now, once I have clarity, it's about intention. What's my plan? I get to be intentional about change. I get to be intentional about growth. I get to be intentional about my own improvement. And so what does this plan look like? So, for instance, I walk into a meeting and it's chaos, and now all of a sudden I'm triggered because, so-and-so said whatever they said again for the 100th time, and it triggers me, right? Like, I come out of that meeting, I'm like, okay, what's clear? And finding what's clear again and who I get to be, so that all that other stuff doesn't take my power. Like, when we get triggered like that, we allow other people to have our power. And so bringing that back, so the I is intention. Okay, great. How am I going to get my power back? The D is discipline. How many times in January? Every year we're going to do it again. We're halfway through the year. In January we go, okay, my resolution is to lose 50 pounds, And then by the 18th of January, we're eating Cheetos and sitting and watching TV again. We're not disciplined. It takes discipline to create transformation, to create change. So how are you going to create discipline? Who's going to hold you accountable? How are you going to hold yourself accountable? The E in Cider is energy. Are you self-caring? Are you working 15 hours a week? A day, 15 hours a day, and not paying any attention to any of the relationships, including yourself in your life? Or are you taking breaks and recharging and getting back to center and coming back to full capacity, right? So the E, and then the R is reset. When we know we get distracted, when we know that we're out there and who knows where land, and we're not centered and we're feeling it, we all can feel it. When we notice that and we're aware of it, it's reset, and we go back to the C, which is clarity. What am I trying to create here? Where am I trying to go? What am I trying to do? So that Cider strategies is a model. It's a process that I really use in my coaching to support people to always come back to, what do you really want? Because that's what it's all about. What do you really want here? In this moment where you want to freak out, in this moment where you want to get triggered, in this moment where you want to go self-destruct, what do you really want? And if I can pause long enough to ask myself that question instead of react, Now I can hold myself in my own leadership instead of being all over the place, reacting and creating bad behavior and a path of destruction behind me. So it's all about the pause, Alan. It's about pause. What do I really want? And then moving from that space.
Yeah, very powerful, powerful stuff. The pause is so important, and like you had mentioned, the trigger. We get triggered by all kinds of things, and generally, it's an unconscious kind of thing. And like you said, we're giving away our power every time we are triggered. And there are people out there, there are great manipulators who intentionally trigger people, but generally speaking, people are not out there to trigger us, but
Right.
it happens all the time. And the first thing, like you mentioned, is being aware of the fact that we've just been triggered, and then that's not going to take care of it until you actually do that pause and give yourself time to get back to clarity and get your energy back and do that reset. And really, once you develop that as a process, it can be pretty instantaneous, but it takes practice, and the discipline you mentioned there is part of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Tina, tell us about Tina Paulus-Krause's program. Your name is your brand. That's who you are. Tell us about the brand and what you do and how it is that we can get in touch with you.
Got it. I have basically two different things that I spend my time doing, and one of them is coaching. So I have a coaching package where literally part of the coaching package is an all-inclusive retreat in Florida where I talked about my daughter and I are building our retreat center. And so, coaching package is just anytime anybody wants, like if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I can't figure out how to make it happen. That's when you need to get a coach or that's when you get to get a coach, right? Because I already see people at their highest. I already see them in what I know that they can create. And my job is to get them from wherever they are right now to wherever they want to go. And when I can get somebody in an all-inclusive or in an intensive for 3 days and get them out of the noise and out of the chaos, we can create bucket loads of transformation. We can create bucket loads of healing. We can create bucket loads of clear, plans and really create that Cider strategies and help people implement that into their life. So that's one piece of it. The other piece is we're just standing up a program called the Global Leadership Experience. And that program, it starts in September. It's a 4-month program. We have 2 or 3 of them every single year that we run. But it's literally the program. So when I talk about my story with Courtney and when all that went down, I say I sent her to drug and alcohol rehab. I sent myself to leadership development. I sent myself to this program that I've now created. So it's a 4-month program. It woke me up to all of my blind spots, right? It woke me up to what wasn't working in my life, and it gave me the support and the framework that I could create to go, okay, so this is what it is. I get it now. I see it. I know what it is. Now, how do I change it? Now, how do I create something new? How do I move forward? And so this program, just kind of like the individual coaching, but we do it in a group format where you're with people from all over the world for 4 months, where there's, master trainers and master coaches that are involved in that. So that program is much bigger than me. But I am the co-founder of that program, and we're really excited to kick that program off in September. So it really kind of depends on what someone is looking for. Sometimes people want, nope, I just want that one-on-one coaching. I don't want to be with other people. I just want to focus on myself, and great, I can really hunker in and do that with people. And sometimes people are like, no, I miss the networking. I miss the connection. I want to meet other people. I want to do this with a group of people, which is super powerful. Like, it's powerful. And when we do that, I did that 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, and I've got best friends that came out of that program. So both of these programs, both of these different kinds of containers are really meant for that person who's like, okay, I get it. I got these blind spots and my life's not working, and I'm ready. I'm ready to take the leap. I'm ready to level up. I may not know what that means yet, and that's okay. Sometimes we don't take the leap because we don't know all the answers. So that part of this is trust. But just trusting that you're ready and trusting that if you step into this, we've got everything that you need to wrap around that person to really support them as they move forward on their leadership journey.
Lots of wonderful things going on there, Tina. I work with young people on a regular basis, and I am so honored to be able to do that at my age. It's a remarkable blessing that I have. And you had just mentioned the events of the last few days here. I don't know when this program is going to air, probably several months down the road from these events, but they're events that people are going to remember. And of course, we're talking about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. That's so tragic in so many, many, many different ways. But one of the most tragic things about that to me is the person who has been identified as the assassin. This 20-year-old young man who in high school had shown promise. He had earned an award in science and math. And 2 years out of high school, for whatever reason, there's all kinds of things and questions going on in terms of what really happened that day.
Right.
Whether this was an individual decision on his part or whether he was pressured into it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
The tragedy of that day is within that one individual because there was so much potential there.
Yeah.
And so my question to you is, how do you see the future of leadership development? I think, my show is Streams of Impact. I think that everybody wants to make an impact in life, and this young man certainly was not any different than that. And he wanted to make the impact, and he made a very, very stupid decision about making that impact. How can we shape the future so that our young people can find themselves? Because you can't make an impact until you find yourself.
Yeah.
So what's the future? How
Oh,
can we move forward with this?
It's such a good question, and it's such a big question, right? Like, it's making me emotional for some reason. But like, I just Thursday and Friday before all this happened this weekend, I sat in on our second round of the teen leadership experience. So I just talked to you about the global leadership experience. It's for adults 18 and over. Well, we have the same program for teens, and we've done it 2 times now. And it's called the Teen Leadership Experience. And to literally sit there for 2 days and watch these teens, and it's no different with the adults. The same thing happens with adults, right? The teens come in and they're super shy and they don't want their camera on because they don't want anybody seeing them, and it's all this nervousness and all this kind of thing. And here's what I know. I know that, and sometimes with those teens, parents make them go, right? So it's not like the teen said, yeah, I want leadership. Parent says, no, you're going to go. So it's weird because they come in this weird space, right? And it's awkward and it's weird and they're embarrassed and they're, struggling with confidence and all this kind of stuff. And literally in 2 days, we literally shut that room down the second day, and those kids were on fire. They were confident. They were talking to each other. They were playing team. They were loving up on each other. And we let a 12-year-old in on this one. So we had from 12 to 18 ages in this, right? With there was 10 kids in there. And so where is the future? I have asked myself 9,000 times since January of 2015, as I started getting into this work, why is this work not in schools? Why is this work not in schools? And the answer is that because the parents didn't have it. We didn't have it. I didn't have it. I learned about this work at 48 years old, right? So the future, the whole reason why I do everything I do, Alan, the whole reason I walked away from corporate, walked away from the fancy title, walked away from the big income, the whole reason was because this work gets to be available for everyone at all ages. And can you imagine a world in the future, Alan, where not only parents got this work, but the second the kids were born, this is how we were living our life. This is how we were bringing up our kids. with these tools and with this information and learning how to lead from within and own our power and have confidence and create team and like all these beautiful things that we don't teach our kids. And so a future that I see several generations down the road is a future where we do that. And I will do everything in my power right here, right now, to offer these sessions and to offer these classes and to offer this space so that people can start recognizing that it's here and recognizing that if I just step in, if I just let my ego go for 1 minute and I just step in, the freedom that's on the other end, you can't put a price tag on it because it's what's going to save our world. Literally, it's what's going to save our world. So that's my stand. I will continue to offer these spaces until I'm hopefully 98 years old and can't anymore because this work is that important. It's that important. It saved my life. It saved my family's life. It saved everything around me. And I've seen it with thousands of other people since I've been in the room. So I know that that's the case. The challenge is breaking through the noise so that people can choose in. Because if you're not choosing in, you're not going to create the change.
Right. Well, powerful words there and powerful processes. And they do make a difference. And, I hear a lot of people trashing this upcoming generation, but I work with them every day, and frankly, I'm impressed with this generation. I think that they're way ahead of certainly where my generation was at their age. They have a whole lot more challenges than we do. Of course, they have, I think, more opportunity. They certainly have access to information that we didn't have when we were growing up. And they know how to use it. I'm impressed. There's all of these efforts to censor information because we as people just can't handle all of that false information. But these young people know how to handle that information, and they know how to assess whether it's valid or it isn't. They don't need the censors.
No. Some of my biggest lessons, after my daughter came back from rehab, she was lit up. She was lit up. And some of my greatest lessons in my own personal transformation came from her. Because I was finally ready to listen to her. Yeah. I wasn't listening before. I thought I had all the answers. I thought I knew it all. I was like, no, let me tell you how you should do it. And when I finally started listening to her, I realized how wise she was.
Yeah. I think this next generation, if we give them the chance, we don't destroy the world before they have the chance. I think there's some great leadership coming from this younger generation.
Agreed. And here's the thing, it's different. It's not the same, which is why people judge it. It's different. Doesn't make it wrong. It's just different.
Yeah. I think it's different because they know themselves much better than I was 38, you said you were 39. It took that long for us to know ourselves, and these young people are knowing themselves at a much younger age than we did. So,
it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Well, Tina, what are your last closing words for us today?
I think if my last closing words, if you're listening to this and you've been feeling it, right? Like life isn't working, something's missing, there's got to be more. These are all the things that I would say to myself in my head. There's got to be more. Why is it so hard? All those kinds of things. That's your intuition talking. That's your intuition saying, I'm ready for that growth. I'm ready for that freedom. I'm ready for that confidence. I'm ready for the next level, whatever that looks like. So don't be stuck in the noise. Listen to what your intuition is saying. Listen to what that inner voice is telling you. Because my inner voice, literally, if I let her, she's my worst enemy. I want you guys to really, our inner voice can be our worst enemy, or today, she's my best cheerleader. right? Like, I've changed the narrative. I learned how to change the narrative, and it makes a big difference. So do you want to be your own worst enemy, or do you want to be your best cheerleader? Transformation will teach you how to be your own best cheerleader.
Absolutely. Today we've had the pleasure of being with Tina Paulus-Krause, and you can find Tina at tinapaulus.com. Thanks so much, Tina. Wonderful conversation. Pleasure being with you today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Ellen. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Streams to Impact, brought to you by Steed Talker Capital, a company empowering passionate professionals like you to develop multiple streams of passive income built on solid passive real estate investments. As a significant part of our endeavors to make a cosmic and meaningful impact for this world, Steed Talker Capital contributes significant portions of our profits to activities and organizations committed to better understanding the equine. These endeavors attempt to enhance the treatment of horses worldwide. Steed Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures great and small flourish abundantly. If you are ready to learn how our passive investors have earned an average 33% annual return on their investments, schedule your complimentary passive income to Prideful Impact consultation. Obviously, we cannot continue indefinitely to offer these valuable consultations for free, so grab your passive income to Prideful Impact consultation while you still can. Go to steedtalker.com/passive